Hello and welcome to the section of this program that answers all your questions on love.
Almost all your questions, but feel free to email us on questions@lovetalkshow.tv and we will do our best, isn't it?
That's right. Or send us your questions via Facebook as well. Now, the first question says, my partner and I have been together for 10 years, 5 of those married. He has struggled with alcohol for a while, and I recently found out that he has been trading explicit photographs with other women. I just feel like packing this marriage up. I'm not sure what to do. All right,
It's a good thing we have a buzzer here
This
today.
one is for me, but listen, today we have the buzzer, and I don't
Right
know when
here.
Elena is gonna ring this buzzer. But you know, let's put this into perspective. I think the first thing we have to ask this person, which she chose to remain anonymous, is there anything good in this relationship right now? Because you said that he has an alcohol problem, and that he has been trading explicit photographs with other women. Now, some may say, well, this is not really cheating, but the truth is, it is cheating. It's absolutely the same as cheating. The fact that he hasn't had yet the opportunity to do it physically, right? It's the same thing.
It's another addiction.
Absolutely.
He clearly has an addictive personality. That's something I learned from one of the psychologists who came on a while ago. It's true. I mean, the question is, what do you want to do?
But also, remember the question I was asking. What can you say right now that is good about your relationship? You look at it, he drinks, has a serious drinking problem. He talks to other women about things he shouldn't be doing, exchanging explicit photographs. In other words, he's cheating on you. So what is there that is good and solid for you to hold on to the relationship? Because if there isn't anything, then, you know, you might have to open the door and sayonara.
It's a sad situation because you have a history together. You were together for a reason. You got together because you loved each other, probably. And it's sad to let go, you know, of that person because, of course, people change over the years for many reasons, various reasons. Now, we're not going to go into the addictions here, but the question is, where do you want to go? The thing is, what we can tell is this: you are within your right to make a decision without feeling guilty, because he's betraying you, and obviously, I'm sure that you don't have much peace at home because of the drinking either. So.
And I would say, just for us to wrap this up, I would say that you need to give this person an ultimatum and say, look, it's against my personality to be with someone who has a drinking problem. And people can debate, oh, but you should help him if he has a drinking problem. You know, for someone
she probably already tried, I think.
That's right. And for someone who lives with someone like that, it's not as easy as, oh, let me help him. And the other thing is, give him also an ultimatum with the decision he made to be, you know, talking to these women, exchanging things with these women, and say, look, this is not going to fly with me. It's either you change or then things are going to change here. But the only person who can make that decision, as Elena said, is you.
Yeah, and we don't even know if he's been abusive towards you, because that's another story. Then you should have gone a long time ago. But yeah, it's unfortunate that you've got to make a decision, a life-changing one. And the next question is for myself. It's from Rose King. And this is what she says. I am 46 years old and I have had several failed relationships. I have recently started dating and then moved in with a man who says he will look after me, but just takes all the money I have.
Hold on a second. I know we haven't even finished the question, but I had to press the buzzer because, come on, look, I'm sorry, please don't get me wrong. 46-year-old, and you had some failed relationships, and now he says he will look after you, but he's taking all your money. I think that's a recipe for disaster. But let's finish reading the question.
I can see from the little bit of what we read that she's had many failed relationships. I think you're choosing wrong.
Absolutely.
And this is another wrong choice, but I don't want to judge you.
Let's finish reading the question.
Exactly. And she carries on saying, to make matters worse, he has terrible hygiene and smokes so much that I can't stand his breath. Okay, how do I deal with this? Well, I can clearly see, after looking at this question, that you have a thing with choosing the wrong guy. And this might be the reason why you had so many failed relationships. I'm sorry to say that. There's something that you need to change. So the question first is, why? What kind of man are you going for? What kind of signs are you not reading when you're dating this kind of guy? Because hygiene, unless he's a good, he's good at pretending, you could tell that he has a problem with hygiene. Mm-hmm. And I know that many people at home might think, oh, but he's so superficial. Why would you be so bothered about his breath? Well, but it can be a big, big problem.
Although, for example, hygiene is something you can work on, you can try to help him. But when a person has no character, because clearly this guy is taking advantage of you, that's something you can't help. This is a serious case of what is called send him packing. Mm-hmm. That's a solution. Listen, for this one, there is no alternative.
Yeah.
I think we can't say to you, oh, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that. You're 46 years old, you had some bad experiences, and now he takes advantage of you. Serious case of sending packing.
I was talking to someone, I'm not going to mention names, because that's what we do. We deal with couples and singles. We have the seminars weekly, and we get to speak to many people and see quite a few cases, real cases. And there was this person who came to me last week and said, you know what, I just wanted to let you know that guy I was interested in. I said, oh, so how is it going? Well, it turns out he lied to me. So basically, he made himself look like, it's like this. Let me try to explain. When the man senses that you are lonely, that you are really anxious because you want to find someone, you are so lonely and you just would do anything to go on a date, they will do whatever they like. They will lie to you. They will make you feel sorry for them. Oh, poor thing, really. Oh, come and live with me. I'm going to do this for you. And this is how it starts. So that's another example. That girl came to me, and that's what happened to her as well. But she was able to see from the get-go. Yeah. And so maybe you can't see.
With some questions, usually we say, look, perhaps you could do this or you could do that. This is not the case. You're not 16 anymore. You work hard for the money you make, and if this person is taking advantage of your hard work, then, like I said, we're going to have this new label.
We should have pressed the buzzer again.
True, but we did already. But we should have a label on this program called Send Him Packing. That's a new label from now on. So that's a solution.
I'm so
Let's
sorry.
go for the next question. And it's from Miriam. And Miriam says, I've been dating a young man for 2 years, but we fight all the time because of jealousy from my part.
Okay.
And I think that's it. There's nothing else there. Well, look, it's...
At least she acknowledges that
yeah, but what she says, and I think you're on the same wavelength as me, is that if you have a problem with someone because of jealousy and you constantly argue and you realize that this jealousy comes from you, then usually we say that jealousy has two categories. The justified jealousy and the unjustified jealousy. I'll talk about the justified, you'll talk about the unjustified. The justified jealousy is when you're jealous because a person gives you reason to be jealous. So like the guy...
He's flirtatious.
Or like the guy who sent explicit pictures to other women and vice versa. Of course you'd be jealous. Come on, who wouldn't, right? Yeah. But then that's a justified kind of jealousy. You have to see if that's your case, then that could be a case of send him packing. Or maybe not. Maybe you just have to say, look, I'm not happy with this. I don't accept this. And I want you to change. But then again, you have the unjustified jealousy.
Which is a problem that comes from you. You have a problem and you need to sort it out, because you can change partner, but if you are so insecure about yourself, you can have the most wonderful man in front of you asking you to marry him and do all the right things. If you do not address this issue, which is very serious, okay? Some people think it's nothing. It's nothing. It's easier to blame the other person. But if you look inside of you, there might be some insecurity there because of something else. You need to go back and see what the roots really are. Because when you have this kind of jealousy, you push people away. Not just partners, but friends. It's very difficult. Even a friend, think of a friend. If your friend is so needy, so insecure, oh my God, it's so high maintenance, that friendship, it's so, you get home after an afternoon together, you're like, I need a break, at least 2 months from this friend, because it's difficult. Imagine someone you live with, imagine a husband. They can't cope, they are men. Sorry, let me explain why I say that. You know, men are simple. From what I see, it's black and white. You know, at least the majority of good men. What they say is what they mean. So if they said to you, I was late because I really had to work an extra half an hour, it's probably the truth.
So if the jealousy is justified because something's wrong, then you either speak to the person and say, look, this is not on, I'm not going to accept that, and you solve the problem. If that problem can't be solved, if you see the person doesn't want to change, then you have a decision to make. Or then if it's unjustified, if you have all this jealousy, and you cause all these arguments, but there's no reason for it. And that seems to be the case from what you said. If that's the case, then you have to deal with the issue that is deep-rooted in your heart. Just before we finish, I remember there was a case of a senior couple, a couple who's already in their 60s, and they've been together for many years. And one of the moments that their marriage was really on the rocks was almost from the beginning, because she was so jealous of him, and he had never been unfaithful to her or given her reason to think that he was unfaithful. But she was so jealous and accusing him all the time that after a couple of years, he just broke down and said, you know what, because if I'm going to be
fed up moment.
he said, if I'm going to be accused of something that I didn't do all the time, I might as well just do it. Was he right? Of course he wasn't right. But it's like Elena was saying,
you pushed him.
You reach a point where
she pushed him.
So it doesn't justify.
No, of course.
Of course not.
Never does.
But we're saying jealousy tends to make people go away.
Because then you feel the jealousy, but he will feel lack of trust. And it's very offensive that you don't trust the person you are with.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, that's all for Dear Love Talk for this week. If you want to get in touch, do so with our email address, questions@lovetalkshow.tv, or send us your question via Facebook as well.